Guys, welcome back. Today's task is on how to create a pivot table in Microsoft Excel. A pivot table is used for easy analysis or easy interpretation of data. For example, we have this data. So I said here we have names, we have years, we have amount. That's it. So maybe this is that. So you want to create a pivot table. So to create the pivot table, first highlight what that this one. Then select it by highlighting what that like that one. Upon highlighting what that, go to the Insert tab. In the Insert tab, go where there is pivot table here. You have recommended pivot tables, but you go here where we have pivot table. So click the pivot table, you're gonna see upon clicking the pivot table, it's gonna give you the dialog box like this one. They have select tables range. So here is the table 1. I have already selected this is the range. This is the table I have already selected. So here we have use an external data source. So we're not dealing with that one because this one is taking the data from other documents, other sources. So here we're just creating data. Just creating pivot table from already existing data in the same box. So here we have our drop data. So here choose where you want the pivot table to display. So here it says automatically select new sheet. So I don't want to create a pivot table in new sheet. I want to create a pivot table in the same sheet. This sheet 1. So I'm gonna, because I want to click here in already existing sheet, I'm gonna click here existing sheet, and here I'm gonna press the location where I want to press my pivot table. It's up to me to write here the location, or even I'm gonna go outside here and highlight. Maybe I want my pivot table to start from here. I'm gonna click there. You're gonna see it's now selecting itself. So I'm gonna like that. I'm gonna select, maybe I want my pivot table to be here like that one. See, that's my pivot. I want that's the location. I highlighted that, and you're gonna see here where there is location. It has right the location where I have already selected. That's it. So here is the location where I want to create my pivot table. So I'm gonna say OK. See, upon selecting OK, you're gonna see that there is something like tables or a dialog box like this one. So to view the report, choose fields from the pivot table field list. So as I have already said that pivot table is used for data analysis, interpretation, and even for reporting, like what we said there. You can even report data easily because it's with the pivot table it's organized in the manner that you can't even confuse your data because it's well organized. Right? So here is our pivot table. And upon clicking OK on the previous dialog box, you're gonna see that it brought this one to us. And at the same time, you have this side. You have pivot table field like this one. Fields to add. So you can add the field, which fields you want to be appear in your pivot table. So for example, here I want the names to appear in the pivot table. And the names, I'm wanting those names to be in the column side. So here is our names. We're gonna click the name, left click, and drag down. We're gonna press it where you have the column like that. I repeat, I go here where there's name and the left click, hold, and drag it down, pressing it where there is a column like here. See, I have pressed it. Upon pressing it here, you're gonna see that here we have the names in column form like that. They're in that column, this column, the names. I pressed it here, and maybe I want the amount to appear there. I'm gonna left click, hold, and drop down, and you drag. So I want it to be in the column 2, for example. I want them to be in the column 2 like that. See, that's it. So we have the amount and we have the names at the same time. See, that's it. So the thing is, at first, as you can see here in the dialog box, upon dragging it down, it's ticking itself like that, or it's ticking. If I untick it here, then you're gonna see that the names are not there. Then column of names are not here yet. I have been in it. If I click it here again, then I'm gonna see them, but in a different manner because I didn't select the position where to place it then. So here we have untick it like that. First of all, I want to repeat myself. First of all, I did left click, hold where there is what you want, and then drag it. When you use that way, you can drag it and press it anywhere you want. Maybe I want it to be a column, and press it on this one, and it's displaying itself here. But maybe you don't want to use that way. You're gonna use another way. Like you're gonna just click. For example, on names, you're gonna tick. Upon ticking, you're gonna see it has pressed itself somewhere like here, where there's rows. So I want here. If you want to press it where there's columns, you're gonna drag it like that and press it where there's columns, so that to make it a column like that. But maybe okay, I'm interested to press it in rows like that. I'm gonna press it this one in rows, names here in rows. At the same time, I'm gonna take the amount I want, the amount I'm gonna take it and press it in as a values like that. See what's happening? This is it. So we have names here, our names, row label like this one. This is it gives us the row label where here we have the amount, here we have the names, and the total grand totals are down here, which means upon creating the pivot table, the data itself make itself the pivot table helps to make our data. The pivot table helps to make our data presentable, easy to report. Maybe you want to report someone saying that someone Faisal received 2,000 doing this and that. The grand total of those people who received these amounts, this was the great amount, the grand total of these all amounts is this one. So you can see, as you can see, this data is very presentable. I repeat, this data is very presentable that you can report it and whatever way you can use it. That's it. So this is how to create a pivot table. I'm gonna undo it and repeat it, but I will be a little bit faster because there's a repetition like that. I'm undoing it. So what I did is I said to create a pivot table. First, I'm gonna highlight our data like that. Select our data like this one. I want to select that one, select it, and go to insert tab like that. Then select pivot table. I'm gonna select it and select where you want to press your pivot table. I want to press it in the existing worksheet. Here is where I'm gonna press my location. Instead of pressing it, I'm gonna highlight it somewhere. Maybe I want my pivot table to be here like that. I want my pivot table to be there. Then I'm going to press OK. Upon pressing OK, the dialog box has vanished, and here we have the pivot table where we have to press our pivot table. And here it have given us the pivot table field where we want to add. So in the pivot table, I want to add our names. I'm going to select here, left click, names, and drag it. So I want to press it in where there is rows like that, and then the amount. I have to press amount here. I'm going to click it and press it where there's values like that. You're gonna see that here you have the amount. I have pressed two amounts here. That's why there is so I'm gonna make one like that. Take it this one, like see this one. So here you have the amount. So here you have here you have the names, here you have the amount and grand total. So as you can see, as I have already said that pivot table is presentable. You can easily present the data. You can do what as you can see here, there is a field. You can fill the data as you wish. Maybe I don't want the amount of increase to appear there. I'm gonna click here and apply it here and say okay. Then you're gonna see that the price the crease has been disappeared. You're gonna see at the same time here our filtering drop down here has changed to a filter like that. So if you want to bring back, you're gonna tick there and say okay. Then you're gonna see that the amount of creases are still there. Creases and this amount that's there. That's it, guys. Thank you guys for watching this video. Have a good day.